If I told you by pressing this button you could go back 10 years in time with all of your knowledge today and the dates for the Bitcoin explosion printed on a receipt taped to your forehead, would you take it? What if I gave you this option after you got married, had kids, grandchildren? A really popular genre in various web novels, manhwas and other media outlets, especially in recent years, has been the regressor or the regression subgenre. Characters possess the ability to return back in time and thus go forth solving problems with knowledge of the future. The regression trope has effectively creeps into almost every niche webtoon genre, from action fantasy, martial arts, romance to historical fiction, economics and business time stories, and even the medical genre. It's just that appealing of a trope. It makes stories very fluid in terms of what the main characters can achieve, while often maintaining a degree of catharsis frequently paired with fast-paced, aggressive plots which focused on the main character's abilities based off of their exclusive knowledge. It's a highly reliable tool that can be used as a deus ex machina without really being seen as one, especially when you can explain all knowledge via regression. I've greatly enjoyed this trope for a very long time, and it really does satisfy that itch of ours of what we could have done. However, this brings up the idea of consequence and the value of reality. If you're able to reset things and simply return time, does anything you do have any consequence, and thus does it ever have any value? If we go against our current paradigm of time and assume that time travel backwards is possible, i.e. not just a parallel universe, it can be argued that the original world, once reverted, is no longer of any value, especially if there is no record of it ever having existed outside of the single regressor's memories. It's effectively the same as a dream. Reality while you're in it, but no longer once you're awake, or in this case, back in time. Usually, our favourite fictional characters are able to use this ability to change the world for the better, or their personal situations, or both. Using this point of view, it's possible to state that each previous life or regression or alternate world holds value in and of itself, as it serves as a catalyst for progression and for a better world. But for who? Your life becomes disposable during these intermediates, as you can use them as a source of knowledge for your future lives. If your life becomes disposable, however, then what of others, your family, your friends, the random passerby? People who you'd normally die to protect would gradually become nothing more than collateral damage. Why save the random passerby when they'll be alive the next life, and you could use that precious time gaining more knowledge about the pressing terrorist attack or medical emergency, and so on and so forth. Oftentimes, this problem isn't really tackled in stories which use a trope as a tool and nothing more. When looking back at your previous lives or regressions and comparing how they have served as stepping stones to your current standing. However, you never know if you're at the final product or whether you're still at the intermediate stage. In other words, it's Schrodinger's life. Your life is disposable until you find out it's not. At a first glance, FFF Trash Hero is nothing but a fantasy-driven wet dream manhwa for people who want to see a psychopath character act out their imagined version of justice in a fantasy world without repercussions. Click up there if you want a quick rundown of the start of the story. Once he fails his first life and watches everything return the way it was 10 years ago, the main character Hansu begins to exploit every single living being and murders everyone with little to no conscience, knowing that things will return if he fails to graduate, and refers to characters as King A, Elf A, Elf B, Man E, and so on and so forth, dehumanizing them, as he finds that he cannot be bothered to remember the names of beings that he views as irrelevant. The story follows his exploits as he fails to graduate multiple times, with the world resetting as he gradually finds deeper secrets of the world that he has been desperately trying to escape for so long. This just really seems like a generic overpowered main character manhwa, however this assessment actually couldn't be further from the truth. Some spoilers here from the original source material, skip to the next timestamp if you don't want to be spoiled. Towards the end of his journey, Hansu finds out a way to reunite the thousands of parallel worlds of Fantasia and to return everyone their memories of old. This results in millions of people suddenly regaining all of their memories of their past life, including their interactions with Hansu in his first iteration of life. It's revealed here that while most summoned heroes take 3 or so years to graduate from the land of Fantasia, that Hansu had taken 10 years. Because of the fact that he has sought to help every single person that has come across his way, going so far as to aid them in their personal troubles, while other heroes had simply sought after harems, glory and fame. It was exactly because of this Hansu had invested so much of himself, his empathy and kindness in the world of Fantasia and its people, that he was so utterly crushed upon finding out that the last 10 years of his life had amounted to nothing, thus causing his breakdown into the psychopath that we see. In this short moment where random villagers all gather around him and thank him for his service, we can see Hansu refer to the villagers by name, each and every last one of them. Here's a short excerpt. "Everyone stop what you're doing and come here, he's back, our hero's back." Hearing Citizen C's shouts, everyone rushed to us. "He's back? My god, he is. Our saviour's returned. Hey, take it easy, this isn't your first time seeing his hero, so what's with all the fuss? Go back to what you were doing already." Citizen A replied, "Ha, how can you put yourself on the same level as other heroes? You..." The village elder, an incompetent old elf in charge of one of the many villages you saved. The elf, who seemed to be in his 30s, replied with a modest smile. I narrowed my eyes. Why act so modestly? You shouldn't talk about yourself like that. This was you who saved this village, not me. I just suggested a way to solve your problem. You should be more proud of yourself, Mr. Leod. The hero still remembers my name. This is such an honour. We worked together for 5 days, during which we called each other by name, after all. With their locked memories freed, the villagers swarmed around me. Luca, you mischievous girl, you still haven't found a husband. Of course, but now that you're here... Huh? You're already married? Elio, Black Troll Hunter, be more confident, got that? I understand, but I'm just a bumpkin. Mr. Droid, isn't it time to leave your daughter's smithy? At this rate you might pass on without seeing your future grandchildren. Don't mention it, my daughter isn't even planning to get married yet. I got used to not remembering the names of those I encountered in my journey, since any bonds I made would disappear every time I regressed. However, with the world now united, they remembered. Hansu? Don't mind me. Are you crying? Not at all. The righteous hero with a heart of steel does not cry over such trifles. This is a striking difference in personality and distinctly shows how the author portrays Hansu's values in life. Once realising that his first life wasn't wasted, he happily greets the villagers and, perhaps for the first time in his gruelling 430 chapter journey, truly seems alive. The philosophy here is clear. Reality matters because of the immutable value of reality. Life has value in its journey, not just its results. The Warrior returns as a terrifyingly bad manhwa with a fantastic suspense-building dramatic first chapter which places it near an S-tier for potential, which it promptly fumbles to an F by chapter 2 with horrendous pacing, terrible characterisation, lack of consistency, endless whitewashing, and I could honestly go on for days, but I won't. Once again, spoilers. The main villain of the story returns in time upon dying, kind of an interesting take, and this backstory shows that even after he created the perfect timeline by saving the world and every one of his allies, time went back when he died of natural causes. After this villain repeats the perfect life multiple times but fails to pass on at the very end, he decides to try each and every possible way to end his life, including those that would be regarded as rather immoral, for example literally reviving Nazis. Anyways, it's a great twist, and honestly if the rest of the manhwa had storytelling of this quality, I'm sure I wouldn't be condescending it in such regard. This presents a similar philosophy to FFF Trash Hero, but from a slightly different approach. It suggests that our actions in life have meaning due to their permanence and simultaneous impermanence. Things we do cannot be changed, but the ephemeral nature of these actions are the reason why life is precious. It's a limited resource and thus should be respected as such. Obviously, this manhwa takes this to the extreme and shows the terrifying reality of regressions, albeit with a much more tragic tale than other fictional works such as About Time 2013. Both of these provide a poignant philosophy on the half-hearted daydreaming that people may often have of regressing or moving to a parallel universe or so on and so forth. It's not saying that daydreaming is bad, but that regressions are nothing to be jealous of. Reality has value in and of itself, and defying time is all but a foolish misendeavour, a poisoned chalice if you will. I personally think that this argument, while it perhaps simplifies the situation a little too much, does have a good amount of truth to it. We can take the meat and summarise it, really, as carpe diem. Go on. Seize your day.